my 27th female fiancé, and I agreed on a mutual boundary about no cheating or anything inappropriate regarding our relationship at our bachelor parties. Our parties were both on the weekend. My friend and I had booked a yacht for my party, and we brought our drinks and ordered takeout before we went. So, most of our money was spent on a yacht. We had a blast. All of us got very wasted, to be honest. And the next day, when I returned home, I was suffering from a hangover and my fiancé was kind of upset with me and believed I was being inappropriate. So for days, I felt guilty as if I had broken some kind of boundary, when the worst thing I did was drink too much with my friends, sing karaoke and make our own party. As far as I was aware, my fiancé had respected all boundaries we set, which is why I felt more guilty for acting immature at my party. But yesterday, one of my bridesmaids, who's also the girlfriend of one of my fiancé groomsmen, called me crying and said she'd send me a video and I can do as I wish with that information. She sent me the video, and it was some of the groomsmen and my fiancé dancing with nearly naked ladies and doing extremely inappropriate things with them. My fiancé was dancing with them and touching them in ways he shouldn't. My bridesmaid's boyfriend also filmed himself. He was wrecked. I showed my fiancé, and we had a huge fight over this, and I cussed him out for making me feel guilty for being drunk at my party while he did all that at his. He kept apologizing and begging for forgiveness and said that we both did stupid things, and we should leave it behind, and promised he'd never do something like that again, and he just got carried away. I didn't buy any of that, so I called off my wedding and announced it to my guests by sending them emails. I notified our families separately and have been called all the names in the book by both families for doing so. They said they understand why I might feel upset, but these things are normal to happen, and I shouldn't let my emotions take over, and how it's irrational to call off a wedding that costs thousands just over such a silly small thing. My parents especially have been extra hostile and say that I'm embarrassing them, and how instead of trying to work things out and move on, I'm throwing everything away. I don't think I'm the idiot, but for a more unbiased and third-party view, am I the idiot in any way in being irrational? Not the idiot. It's not normal. And you had a very specific agreement that he broke and lied about it. Not only that, but he purposely blamed you for drinking too much, because he was building up a defense in case he got caught. You both did stupid things. Heck no, he's trying to gaslight his way into forgiveness. If he really wants forgiveness, he can work for it, starting with rebuilding your trust in him, which can take years, by the way. The idea that the parties are the last nights of freedom is awful. Why the heck are you pledging yourselves to each other if you view it as a prison sentence? Sounds like Ope had the same mindset and didn't want that stuff. And fiancés could blew it. Nah, he's a dirtbag. Good on you for standing up for yourself. Ope, congrats, Ope, you dodged a bullet. Your ex clearly tried to gaslight you, even having the nerve to say that you both messed up when it was him all along. However, you also just saw the true colors of the people around you. Your friend who showed you the video is a true friend. As for your parents, I'm sorry, but they care more about appearances than your welfare. Yes, the family's upset that they've wasted a lot of money on the wedding arrangements is an extra slap in the face. They don't care about her happiness long-term and expect her to sacrifice that because they've spent money on her wedding to a cheating idiot no less. Agree. Calling off a wedding is easier than getting a divorce later. There's no such thing as one last fling. I'm so sorry your family cares more about money and public image than you getting married to a cheater. I also feel bad for your faithful friend in the same boat. I think you and your bridesmaid should go on your honeymoon together. I think you need it. I, as a 35-year-old male, have 2 sons, pre-tweens and younger. My littlest one is going into kindergarten, and I was so excited to include him in our school shopping routine properly. He's always tagged along with his brother and got his own arts and crafts stuff to use at home, but there's a new layer of excitement this year. We always allow independence and choices as long as it doesn't become inconvenient. For example, if my kid picks out the 120 count crayons, we might redirect him to the 96 count instead, since that's easier to carry around in his backpack. Other than practicality, we don't try to persuade them in any way. It's always a fun experience and a great way to kick off the school year, and to relieve some of those "oh God, maybe he's leaving me" fears for my husband and me with our kid. We usually grab quite a few of the items on the teacher's wish list and make a point to wrap it up nicely as a little thank you, present from our children to the educators spending the year with them. Upon receiving the school supplies list this year, there was a note made at the top saying all supplies should be exactly as listed, such as a 24-pack of crayons, as all items will be shared with every student in the class. This was confusing as I bought the items for my children. I decided I would go through with our supply shopping tradition as normal, never getting anything less than what was required, of course, and send a note with both of my boys that their items would be their own and could be kept in their backpacks as usual. But unfortunately, when I expressed this statement to those around me, aside from my husband who was on my side, they weren't very receptive to the idea. Am I the idiot for not following the rules listed?
Oh, you are the idiot. First is those sounds like teacher informed you that supplies would be shared. Those you're causing problems for their classroom.
Why?
Yeah, so I get them special things for home use, but for school provide the supplies as listed. It's not that difficult if you have the money. See, the kids can benefit from learning to share this one time.
You are the idiot.
You're making it unnecessarily difficult for your child and their teacher for no reason other than you don't wanna. See, well, teacher has these rules for a reason. Well, maybe you don't like it, but you're not the one teaching a classroom full of kids all day either. And you're also teaching your kid that breaking the rules is okay when you just don't like
Set a good example for them and show respect toward their teacher. Not the idiot.
Schools have been doing this for a while now, and I understand why.
Some kids can't afford school supplies, and this helps. But other parents were getting almost monthly emails asking if we could send in more supplies because the class was running low. After the 4th month of this, I told the teacher I didn't mind pitching an extra every now and then, but I couldn't afford to send in more pencils, papers, crayons, etc. every month. She tried to shame me, saying I could afford it because my kids wore nice clothes to school. I told her I bought the clothes at the thrift shop, and she shouldn't judge everyone's financial status on what kind of clothes they wore. I hate redistribution. My boys are on the spectrum and won't use pencils that are broken or chewed on. They won't use broken crayons with no wrappers. This is a hill that they will both die on. Existence. I bought quality products, but my kids returned with dollar store flimsy folders, etc. So yes, I was that parent and labeled their stuff, but sent extra unlabeled. I would much rather have the teachers ask for one for the student and one to share. I'm way more happy to do that. And for your old female best friend, Kate, and I have lived together since we were 20. I'm staying at a house which belongs to me after my grandma passed away and left it to me. I didn't ask Kate to pay me any rent, so she just contributed to the house expenses such as bills, etc. I've been with my fiancé, a 24-year-old male, since we were 19. During our first years together, he'd occasionally visit my place, and I'd also go to his place. But after we got more serious, he started spending more time at my place, and he'd usually stay in my room and not bother Kate. At first, Kate didn't have a problem, but later she said I needed her permission to bring someone over. I respected her wishes, and whenever she didn't want him over, I just went to my fiancé's place. But then she'd make a scene even the few times he'd come over. She'd also make a scene about me leaving to stay with him, and how I'm a tourist at my own house. Look, for the record, I never stopped paying for my share of bills and expenses. That one time, the electricity and water bills were higher because my fiancé would have visited and would have used water to shower and opened the AC or the heat on, etc. I told Kate I'd pay more. She'd have to pay her usual share. She usually paid her share, but she didn't have to pay anymore. She didn't like that and demanded my fiancé pays as well. I told her that it's not for her to decide, and that's between him and me to figure out. Back when that happened, we weren't engaged yet. But because I knew the proposal was near, I started having conversations with Kate about how she should try finding her own house or go live with her parents. I planned on using this house to live with my partner and start a family here. She didn't believe the proposal would happen soon and said she'd look into it when the time came. So then my fiancé proposed. That was 4 months ago. Kate was shocked and mentally broke down about how she couldn't live on her own and I should just give her some time. I told her that my fiancé plans to move in 3 months, and she could just stay with her parents. Fiancé moved in a month ago, and Kate has made no move of finding a place or going to her parents. My fiancé started paying bills and everything in the house, but Kate fights with him over household stuff and arrangements. I've confronted her, and I told her that by next week, all her things will be packed and she'll be out of my house. She doesn't get to make rules here, and that the house belonged to me in case she forgot. She packed a couple of clothes and left that day. For the past few days, she sent her sister and mom to collect her stuff, and they both claimed I've been a crappy friend to Kate, and how unacceptable it is that I've prioritized housing my fiancé over to my childhood best friend and just kicking her out like this. Am I the idiot? No, I'm not. You don't have a best friend. You have a best leech. You gave her plenty of warning that she needed to leave. She was far too entitled to your home. Yes, she doesn't pay rent. How does she have the nerve to get crappy when I bring my partner to her own house? I'm gobsmacked that this leech wasn't kicked out years ago. She needs to grow up and start paying her own bills. You don't need to put your evolving life on hold to keep caring for an adult child you didn't birth. I'm amazed she had the balls to say I had to ask permission to bring people over in the first place. It's my house. I offered her kindness by giving her a roof over her head. Seriously, she got 4 years of free rent and 3 months' notice, and then waited another month to be told to hit the road finally. 4 years was plenty of time to save up a nice down payment for her own place. Is Kate dumb? Or is your fiancé supposed to not live with you? What is the point of being together? Is your friend secretly a lesbian and thought you were in a relationship or something? What she did makes no sense whatsoever. No one in their right mind thinks they're the priority over someone else's significant other. This totally reminds me of one of my absolute favorite quotes by Mark Twain. If you pick up a starving dog and make him prosperous, he will not bite you. This is the principal difference between a dog and a man. You're being bitten right now? I have an older sister who's married to my brother-in-law. My brother-in-law seems to love her genuinely, and they've never shown a sign of a failing relationship. That was, of course, until yesterday when my sister phoned me while crying heavily. I asked her what was wrong, and she told me her friend, a jeweler, was suspicious of the ring my brother-in-law gave her and urged her to confirm the material of the ring. My sister continued and told me that the results showed that the ring was not a diamond, but in fact moissanite. She told me she didn't tell her husband yet, but she's considering a divorce because she thought that my brother-in-law didn't really love her, even though he supposedly had enough money. I don't know how much money he has, so as of now, I can't really confirm if he did or did not have the money. I told her that it was ridiculous only to divorce my brother-in-law just because he bought her a fake ring. She sarcastically told me something along the lines of thanks for being so helpful before hanging up. I get she was in an emotional moment, but love shouldn't revolve around a ring. Am I the idiot? What if my brother-in-law was scammed? What if he didn't even know that it wasn't a real diamond? My sister should talk to her husband before jumping to any conclusions, since that's such an important topic to her. But just between us, it seems immature to measure love only by the stones on your ring. Maybe my sister and my brother-in-law are having problems I don't know about, and this is just her last straw. You are the idiot. This warrants my sister having a conversation with her husband before making any firm decisions. But she's not ridiculous for being quite upset at the moment. She needs to ascertain that he was not himself lied to. My brother-in-law's not a jeweler, after all, because it's not really about the ring. It's about the potential lie. The ring is an important symbolism for many people, and not others, and that's fine too. So lies about something like that can hurt far beyond merely any material impact. I don't think the issue is whether the ring is real or fake. I think that the issue is whether or not he lied to her. You're the idiot for failing to understand. What friend does something like that? A happy marriage of several years standing, and you somehow feel that the engagement ring composition is both your business and critical enough to stick your oar in. This reminds me of a created entity to justify the appraisal as a way to form a grievance. There's something up with my sister and the marriage. I have some neighbors, a young couple around their 20s. They've lived in the apartment next to mine for 2 years. They have a dog, a small one. I've always noticed them taking the dog on walks, but for the past 2 months, I just see them putting some pads on their patio and letting the dog out there. I have made complaints to them multiple times. I called them lazy and told them to give up the dog if they can't care for it properly. Finally, I told them they were taking the easy way out by not taking the dog for a walk and letting it do its business on the patio.
Their argument was that first of all, they'd clean up the patio at least twice a day, and that the dog goes for walks every night.
The girl also said it's none of my business why she and her boyfriend don't take the dog out for walks, and that they don't have to answer to me.
The next morning, I called the police and public health services on them.
Juries came and inspected and said that no laws were broken. As long as the area is cleaned up daily, the couple is not breaking any laws.
I told them that the couple doesn't take the dog for walks, and the police said that the couple has their reasons for that, and I don't have to know those reasons.
From the 70s, I later found out from another neighbor who confronted me that the reason they let the dog go on the patio is that the girl is pregnant and on bed rest. It turned out and think her boyfriend takes the dog out late at night when he comes home from work, and I wasn't entitled to that information since they didn't break any laws in the first place. And despite her bed rest, the girl still tries to do her best.
Everyone in the building is now hostile to me. Shocking. Yes, you're the idiot. You called the police on your neighbors, accusing them of animal neglect because they let their dog go on the patio to do its business and clean it up, but take it on fewer walks than you can account for. Personally, the police informed you there's a good reason for all of this and to mind your business. But through someone else, you found out that the woman's on bed rest in her pregnancy and how their dog walking schedule has been altered as a result. And knowing all of this, you still wonder if you're the idiot. You made a building full of enemies because you're nosy and intrusive. Don't the police have better things to do than to cater to your petty concerns? I can't even imagine why anyone would think this was not okay, let alone a police matter. Just OP needs to get a life. All they do is sit around watching what their neighbors are doing all day. You say the dog does its business on a pad on their patio. It's their patio, not your business at all. And you call it the poop police. Come on, you curtain twitcher. Itchin, I hope when their baby comes, they'll change diapers out on a patio just to mess with you. Right. Lord help the local cops when Ope finds out about indoor cats and litter boxes. That's a whopping you are the idiot. There are many reasons why people can't walk their dogs. The dog may have an injury that's healing. It may have developed arthritis and can't walk as much or as long without pain, or a slew of other reasons that are none of your business. It sounds like you need a hobby if you have this much time to monitor your neighbors.